The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old.
It is time for an old man to yell at clouds. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Yeah, just something off my chest, and in many ways I want to try to defend parents and dads from I think what's perceived as it's a very unfair perception about parents in what is already a very trying time. Specifically, depending on where you're living, your circumstance might be different, but where we are, Ontario, Canada, they extended the school closures. So kids are at home, quote unquote, learning. Now, to be clear, I understand it and I'm for it in the sense that I think everyone's trying to do their best. Like, this is all about public health and pulling together. So it's not against that part about it. What I'm not seeing is that, so parents are having a hard time with this, right? Mm-hmm. It's difficult. Yep. Like, it's either like you have to stay home. Maybe one of the parents or both needs to leave their job to do this part of it. The kids are struggling. Like, it's not easy for them. Like, hey, 5-year-old, sit quietly in front of the screen by yourself all day. Yeah, excellent idea. This could be great.
Yeah.
The teachers, it's hard on the teachers. Like, that's not the same. That's not what they signed up for. So it's difficult across the board. What you'll hear parents lament this. It's difficult. Damn, it's difficult. Like, oh, this is so hard. I can't believe they extended it. Oh, no. And what I'm really sick of is that pushback to parents where it's like, oh, like, you don't want to spend time with your kids? Like, oh, you don't want to be like with your kids? And it's like, you don't get it, man. That's not like, you try being with my kids. No.
That's right. Yeah, you come over here.
This is a really difficult time to be a parent, I think, generally in our evolution, right? You go back like 4 or 5 generations, and inside of any particular household, I think you had, if not sisters and brothers, you had grandparents, you had people kind of nearby. There was actually really a community of people around helping you raise your kids. And if not that, at very least, hey, 6-year-old, go ahead to the park by yourself. No one's going to judge me. No one's going to call the cops on me because my 5-year-old's out front playing by himself kindly. So between those like social pressures and the fact that there's no family support, right? Everybody lives in houses in vastly different cities, like completely far apart. So you're just 2 parents with 2 kids trying to do your best, right? And it's such a different markup. Like, it's so different from how I think people raise kids at any particular point. And here's my general thinking on the calculus of it, where, like, I don't know if you've kind of noticed somewhat of the same, but when we used to get together with friends or with our family, right? So like you would change the ratio. So here's the ratio: 2 kids, 2 parents, 100% effort. Like, right. You are just completely focused on those kids not jumping off of the back deck.
Yeah, on top of each other. Yeah, everything. Yep.
Right? Like, it's 2 kids, 2 parents, 100% focus. What I have found in my getting together with other parents, it'd be more like, let's say 4 kids, 4 parents, 50% effort. There's just something about when kind of parents and adults get together where, okay, you keep an eye on the 4 of them, the 3 of us will kind of do other things. It's going to free us up. Yeah. And it's something about kids too, just where it's a bit of a herd mentality. They're watching each other, they're helping each other. Like, age differences can help as far as like older ones kind of shepherding the little ones. No, put down the scissors. Like, let's all play. Like, they entertain each other a little bit too. It takes that burden off. So 2 parents, 2 kids, 100% effort. 4 parents, 4 kids, same ratio, half the effort. I swear that's the case. And I think that's true for teachers too, in some small way. It's not easy, but it's just like, if you can have a bunch of kids all participating, I think it's just self-enforcing. Am I way off base here? Is it not just different and difficult for us?
No, I totally hear you, and I think I do agree. It's way more difficult right now, where everybody's going just full tilt trying to get things done. And if you introduced, again, pre-pandemic, before, when we could gather with other people, like birthday parties and stuff, you had way more adults and less of the effort, because the kids would just enjoy each other's company, or they would figure out things on their own. There'd be that social community that kind of forms. With teachers, I don't know how they do it. They have 20 screens that are all individual kids with their own individual problems. Like things are going on in the background in every single household. I've sat here and watched my 7-year-old, and it's got to be really, really tough for teachers just to hone in people playing with, not only like the webcam settings, but like what's going on behind them. And they don't have that kind of focus anymore. So yeah, it's tough. It is tough. I don't want any complaints. I don't want people saying you don't want to be with your kids. What's going on? Like, we're just holding together here. Like,
we are going through a hurricane. We are just holding on to the side of the ship, hoping not to be flung asunder. So it's just disheartening to have parents attacked if they show any signs of unhappiness around the scenario. And it's look, man, like I adore, as I said last episode, like I adore my kids and I'm so happy they're here, but damn it if this is not just extra stress, which makes it so hard.
Absolutely.
So it's utterly unfair to parents. Like, dads, I'm out there, I'm on your side, I'm defending you. Don't listen to them. It is exceptionally difficult to be parents right now. So don't listen to the haters.
Absolutely not.
All right, so we're going to follow up that darkness,
right,
with a bunch of light. We are so excited for this. You might have, if you have listened to the show for a while, we used to have a segment called Gaming Dad Victory of the Week. And darn it, if this week we are not bringing it back, cue the music.
Gaming Dad Victory of the Week. Each week we feature an exceptional gaming dad, and often their kids, who are doing fatherhood and gaming so well.
And this week's Gaming Dad Victory of the Week goes to Jordan and his kid, Jean-Luc. So Jean-Luc had defeated his first Lego game. So the photo we have up on the video of this too is him standing in front of the completion screen, so proud, as his father must be behind the camera as well. So from the gaming dad, Jordan's mouth himself, he says, he worked on the game for weeks and solved puzzles on his own, so I am pretty proud of him. I just had to give him encouragement and say things like, try breaking things.
That's the only time you'll say it. The only time.
He says that's usually the solution to Lego game puzzles. Too true. So he's been working on Lego Movie 2 since then, but I don't think he'll finish it for a while. It seems a lot more complex, but he's figuring it out. I will say this, we had first interacted with Jordan a while back. That's actually almost 2 years ago. Jean-Luc, as of this recording, is now 6 years old and is still gaming, loving platformers. So your kid beating their first Lego game, like how thrilling for them. Did you have a moment like that with yours, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody kind of like pins that in their memory on their first game that they beat with their kids or witnessed them beating the game for the first time. I still remember my young kids going, I think it was Tearaway was one of their first. So kudos to this dad. This is an amazing achievement. I think not only the kid will remember it, but he will too. And again, sharing that bond and just having that puzzle solving going and the victory of actually doing it all yourself is just an amazing confidence booster. So good to hear that he's still gaming a couple years later. So
yeah, absolutely rating a platformer. So congratulations to Jean-Luc for completing his game, and congratulations for Jordan for winning this week's Gaming Dad Victory of the Week.
If you would like to be nominated or know somebody else deserving, please get a hold of us at our website, newdadgaming.com.
So, absolutely amazing. Man, so happy to have a little bit of positivity, especially after going on some old man rant at the beginning of the show. As it says, so anybody listening here, if you have your own Gaming Dad victory, you yourself, your gaming moment, your victory, your kid's victory, or know someone else, send along to our website, leave a comment on the video or any of our socials. We'd love to get you featured here on the show. Now, we have mentioned a number of times the perils of YouTube.
Yes.
The deep, dangerous dark hole that YouTube can represent. And unfortunately, Jeff, it seems like it may have ensnared one of your own.
Yeah, it has, Trevor. I think every parent will be dealing with this, if not now, then maybe in the future when their kid is allowed their own YouTube time. So my 10-year-old's allowed to peruse YouTube as he sees fit. He knows what's appropriate, or at least I thought he did.
So it was thought?
Yeah. So he watches one specific YouTuber playing Among Us, which is fine. I've spot checked that. Language is okay. Everything's fine. The problem is that one of the suggested videos after the playlist was some other videos that this YouTuber has done. Not so appropriate and very...
So it was even the same YouTuber, wasn't
It was
even a...
Yep.
Oh, no. That's
Same YouTuber, just different playlists, right? Because it just goes along with, hey, YouTube thinks you like this, so you'll like more. And the age range just kind of like spiked. So I didn't know that this other playlist existed. It's about like reading off creepy text, or, it's like spooky stories kind of thing, right? And the guy intersplices video and other content with it. So yeah, not appropriate for a 10-year-old. And turns out that my 10-year-old said he wasn't affected with it, wanted to show me it.
Oh, no.
And I immediately knew that he had crossed that boundary where, little kids don't know that boundary yet. So, or they think they know, but then, nighttime hits.
You don't know, kid.
You don't know. So he was all excited, tries to go to bed, obviously can't sleep, is scared that these creepy texts, whatever content was in it, is going to happen to him. So we have been having him sleep in his little brother's room on the floor for the last week, because that's where he feels comfortable. And by all means, I'm not going to shame him and you shouldn't be scared, all this stuff. It's like, if you feel comfortable in your little bro's room, go there.
And kudos to the older brother if he's somewhat willing to kind of lend a hand in this scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. But now we're at a point where it's just kind of like his bedtime routine conjures up these feelings, right? So now he gets anxious and scared, and it's part of that routine, and it's hard to kick him out of it. So we're trying different things on, I actually viewed the video with him to kind of talk him through it.
Interesting. Okay.
Didn't work. So,
wow. Good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't, because it kind of put it back to him again. So we tried kind of moving him into a specific part of his room with different night lights and stuff. What did work last night was if he wants more YouTube time, he has to give an effort to try and sleep in his room. Second thought, I'm not sure I should have done that, because again, it's like hanging a reward over his head where he has legit feelings. So again, if any dads out there have any solutions, because I don't, we're trying things, but we're not quite there yet.
What's troubling about that too is whatever decision you make, I'm going to try this, is that you're dealing with something mental. And there's there's a whole layer of toxicity which you rightly are trying to avoid, as far as be a man, don't be afraid of anything. It's like, that's kind of garbage. Yeah. So that's wonderful. But I mean, as far as how do you what type of question is it? How do you make someone not afraid of something? If you went to a therapist for years and years, maybe they could coach you through something, but this is kind of an in-house moment where a kid saw something they shouldn't have. It's got lodged in.
Yeah. And
now it's there. The carrot angle is kind of interesting, as far as, and especially how you put it as, put an effort.
Yeah.
Where it's wake up, you're going to be scared. It's okay to be scared.
Yeah.
But just try to walk yourself through and then get back. That sounds to me like a positive step. And it sounded like it had some success, some degree of success.
Yeah, it was better. So it might be one of the, because I remember sneaking downstairs and watching a movie that my parents were watching. Shouldn't have watched it. And I spent a week in my brother's room too. So
and that movie was Shrek too. Scared me for years.
Yeah. So I think time heals all wounds. I think that's part of it. I think it'll eventually be just washed away. It'll get less effective. If it doesn't, I'll report back and let you know that we're in, this other rabbit hole of nightmares. But, just a warning to dads and parents out there is, especially during these times, I can't be with him 100% of the time. We trusted him to kind of know what's appropriate, and he makes mistakes. Now he knows his boundary.
That's interesting.
Learn from it, right? So
that's kind of nice. I wouldn't have expected that takeaway where it's, because I find with mine, I mean, mind you, he's 5, so we're talking vastly different age ranges. But I find that when he likes to continue to push past things where it's just because even if it went bad last time, it's like, well, I still want to try that. And it's almost like there's no learning in the lessons just yet. There's no learning from the bad experiences. Right. So it's interesting to see that your son actually kind of appreciates, it was kind of self-wrought, and now he's kind of dealing with these things. So he has kind of, seems like a certain emotional maturity. I don't know if that's common with 10-year-olds or not.
We'll see. Again, he says he's a good talker. We'll see if his actions kind of follow through with it. So,
good talk.
Yeah,
he talks a big game. We'll
that's right.
Yes, I would love to see from any gaming dads out there that have suggestions, because not only you, I imagine like in this media saturation that we currently have, just where it's television, tablets, and especially at this moment when all kids are watching a little bit too much screen time, and parents just need, I got to take a meeting, I got to go do some work, so like just please be on the tablet for like 10 minutes while I do this stuff. Yeah, the opportunity for this is quite abundant in current times. So yeah, any gaming dads with some suggestions for us would be very well received.
Absolutely, I'm open.
I think we've had, our little guy has woken up bawling a few times, but I mean as in literally like twice. So he would just kind of sit up and just cry, and we can't really get through to him. He wasn't really able to describe what it was, but he just seemed to be super sad about it, and like came into our room. Difference being that he just like plopped down and fell asleep immediately, and never kind of resurfaced. That's about the only experience we've had with it so far. I do like, as a side tangent, my other son seems to, it's either he's telling the truth and it's a very funny dreaming sequence, or he's lying and he's trying to manipulate where it's just funny how he has dreams every night, and then he comes and tells us them, and the dreams are very much just exactly what he wants. Where it's like, hey, I had a dream last night where I came downstairs and you and we played video games, and it was a lot of fun. And he just like leaves it there. He's like, yeah.
That sounds like a great idea.
Doesn't that sound wonderful? And then we went to the donut store and we got some donuts, and our dog Moogle was very happy. Do you not understand that's like your desire as opposed to a dream? Are you thinking dream as in it's my dream that you'll let me, like when I ask you, did you dream anything? And he's like, yeah, like I dreamed that you'll let me play video games this morning.
Yeah.
It's like, no, did you not? That's not how it works, son.
I buy into that though. If it works, all the power to him.
Don't hate the player, hate the game, I suppose, but it's like you're not pulling that on me.
No.
Nice try though. And speaking of dreams, with some news that came up this week, the dream of game streaming died a little bit, where the Google has disbanded its in-house gaming division. So they were building some games in-house. That's been disbanded. Now, that doesn't mean, AKA, they're going to cancel Stadia next month. It is concerning.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your take is on this. Like, it's kind of hard to read. I'm worried about reading too much into it, but I'm also, is it kind of like a smoke signal of where they stand on it?
Yeah, I think when you get rid of like your first party games, it's kind of signaling that the writing's on the wall. You're probably going to sell this tech off to whoever, or sell the tech in parts. So it's kind of interesting in a time of lockdown and pandemics and everything is streamed, that they wouldn't really push more for first party success and them as a platform. I just think like now is the time. Like if anything was to show how streaming works, and even with Cyberpunk, like how most systems can't run it, but Stadia's version was amazing.
Apparently,
like, that seems like this is how it is, and to kind of get it out to people. And again, I think even with my kids streaming stuff that's just like Roblox, which is like in browser stuff, like Stadia would have been a good transition to kind of get them on board. And it's kind of sad to see that first party games are like no more for them. They just didn't buy into it. Gave it a year and then out.
So I'm curious, because it's just, there's some part of me that does wonder if it's almost like, to be optimistic about it, where Cyberpunk was so successful, It's like, you know what, like this is what are we? Are we CD Projekt Red? Are we going to be so good as a game company that we're going to be able to produce these titles that actually move the needle? Or are those resources better focused on securing those type of contracts and like producing better tech that actually makes it work? You know, are we just kind of like muddying the water by bothering trying to produce games? Let's focus on our strength and double down on games. I mean, my concern generally is like, as gaming dads, like the idea of streaming games, I think, is really powerful for us. I mean, we had we'll talk about this next episode, but we had a gaming dad who was concerned about how much he's going to be actually able to game. Right? Like, I'm a new dad. This is my hobby. I don't think I'm going to have time. One of our responses was, you know, consider gaming, like streaming. So between Xbox and GeForce Now and even Stadia, like if you can game wherever you are in your house, like that's kind of a potential. So, but the idea for gaming, so I like its potential for gaming dads and its enablement of gaming anywhere. So what's concerning though is like for a gaming dad who would want to plop down the money required for this. So Google Stadia, you got to buy the controller, $100.
Yeah.
Its particular model, you have to buy games. So you would have had to purchase CD Projekt Red. And now with your limited dad funds and limited dad gaming time, you're starting to see these chinks in the armor. Oh no. Just like,
yeah, again, like where did those licenses lie? Like if you bought a third-party Google Stadia version, do you get that license back if Stadia goes up? If I bought Assassin's Creed, do I get the PC license? Like, does it like, I don't get it. Like, is it Stadia only license, and then I've spent all this money building up this library and it doesn't work anymore? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Because I mean, like it's been a weird enough transition. I know of the two dads here, like you're much more the proponent of physical media. I've tended to really enjoy digital. I mean, but I saw it more as Steam, in the sense that my Steam library theoretically exists, and whatever computer I get, I can just play it on. Of course, if Steam decides to blow up their database, I lose all games I've ever had. Right. That's a problem. But when the value proposition is already so murky as something with Stadia, and then, you know, you start to see these problems in it, and now, you know, again, gaming dad surveying the landscape. Where am I going to place my bets? Ugh.
Right. Yeah. And maybe they do sell off the parts, like you said, play to their strengths. And really it's about, you know, providing this streaming service to other companies. And same with Amazon and their Luna, how that works. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I wanted to succeed. I mean, like, so from we talked to this just before starting the show there. I mean, one of my takeaways from it was my console. So I, you know, still very much enjoying the Xbox Series X or SS. By the way, I had to Google what my console was called because I forgot. I got Xbox One S stuck in my head, which I knew was wrong. But I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't remember what the heck the thing was called, so I had to Google it. It was just like, it's like, what is this? Like, this
you
is the
heard
worst
it here
naming.
first. Yeah, gaming dad can't remember the console. Got it.
Yeah, is that a Nintendo, son? Good. I've crossed the threshold. I'm already there. I'm already forgetting the name of all of them. Everything's going to be a Nintendo in a year.
Right. That's right.
It's all Nintendos.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what took me away, what you and I were talking a bit before the show, is if I was to lose game streaming, and not even streaming, sorry, like the Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
Which I see, it's kind of like, it's like Netflix in a sense, except you have to download the movie first before you play it. Unlimited games.
Right.
If I lost that, this console would be dead to me. The load times is great, but it's like, okay, I'm going to have to buy like a brand new library of all these games for this thing compared to, you know, what I had on PlayStation, et cetera, et cetera. Compared to what I found interesting is that you currently don't have any kind of subscription really with PlayStation, and you would be just utterly happy if you got to just like keep using it. So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy between the two of us. So
yeah.
Does that make you more reassured in your purchase and your decisions? Like, given that there's some tiny bit of drama in the game streaming world?
Yeah, like I think, again, I really prefer Sony's first party offerings. I think they dump a lot of money into their first party games. Nintendo as well, right? They just live off certain franchises and try to keep them going, and then introduce new ones and try to keep those going. So I can see that's their focus. With Xbox, their focus is very much Game Pass, and they're trying to get into more games and, acquisitions. The thing that I like about Stadia kind of being part of the service part is that they're not going to try to snipe exclusives. So now as a gaming dad, I don't have to oh, my son wants this exclusive Fortnite skin. He has to get the Stadia version to get that, and not, the PlayStation version. You just further splintering the community, which I never liked to begin with. So that's kind of a good thing to come out of it, hopefully. But yeah, I'm very much a proponent of games first, and then figure out the services. But
I got it.
There's two sides to every story.
One little counter, though, is that I have opened up my Xbox a bit to my son. Again, as per the last episode, we playing Plants vs. Zombies. But when he wants to try out a game, I could just scroll through the whole family section. Which one does he want? For
true.
you, that's a $60 to $80 bet you got to place down.
Yep, it's not happening. It'll be past stuff. Here's all the stuff I already have.
Shovel it.
Pick from that. It's a sock drawer full of just the old toys come out from the couch.
What's
These
that? You
are
want to
the
be
ones
today's hero, Jean-Luc, and finally beat Lego? No, I don't, Dad. Yes, you do. Here you are. We're doing Lego again, son. We got to eat.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We'll wrap it up there for this week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you yourself have a Gaming Dad victory story, if you know somebody else deserving, reach out to us at our website, newdadgaming.com. You can also find us on social media at New Dad Gaming. Similarly, reach out to us with any dad concerns, any dad questions, show ideas. Would absolutely love to hear from you. If you'd like to subscribe to the podcast, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and any of the other major podcasting services. Again, the website is newdadgaming.com, and would adore to connect with any of you about ideas, dad issues. If you have some nightmare tips for Jeff and his 10-year-old as they go through it, would adore the feedback. So once again, everybody, thank you so much for listening, and until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a not sleeping 10-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Help.
Help.
Darn you, YouTube. YouTube strikes again. All right. See you next week.
See you.